Last week, Reddit restricted users from publishing links to RT and Sputnik, joining Microsoft, Twitter, YouTube, Meta, Snapchat, TikTok, and Spotify in imposing similar restrictions. Even Telegram, the encrypted messaging app, bowed to European pressure to take down RT, which had a large following in Europe. It's thought that Russian disinformation was openly circulated on Telegram. Russian authorities have responded by imposing their own bans on American tech companies. This is when Musk announced that Starlink was asked to block Russian news. Hey people, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we will be looking at Musk's say about blocking Starlink services to Russia. But before we start, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Done? Let's get going. Some nations have directed Starlink to restrict Russian news outlets. We will not do so unless we are forced to do so by force, the tech mogul tweeted. I'm sorry for being a free speech zealot. As the West and its allies work to combat misinformation regarding Moscow's assault on Ukraine, Russian-controlled media outlets have come under criticism. The European Union barred Russian state-funded news outlets RT and Sputnik from the 27-nation EU this week, while U.S. social media behemoths like Twitter and Facebook parent Meta have taken steps to limit the flow of Russian state-linked news. After Kiev digital minister Mikhailo Fedorov begged Musk to equip the struggling country with stations days after it was invaded by neighboring Russia, Starlink was enabled in Ukraine last week. The service uses a constellation of more than 2,000 satellites to deliver internet connectivity to people all around the world. Since the Russian invasion, the web monitoring group NetBlocks has documented a series of substantial internet service outages in Ukraine. Musk claimed in a separate week Saturday that certain Starlink terminals near conflict regions were clogged for several hours at a time. SpaceX has shifted its focus to cyber protection and signal jamming. Starship and Starlink V2 will experience minor delays as a result of this. Since its military invasion on February 24, Russia has pounded Ukrainian cities, killing hundreds of civilians, according to officials. Multiple media websites are partially inaccessible. Twitter is restricted, and Facebook is barred, according to Russian authorities, who have imposed a press blackout. Elon Musk, the CEO of SpaceX, tweeted on Saturday that several nations had urged Starlink to restrict Russian news outlets. Some governments, not Ukraine, have directed Starlink to restrict Russian news sources, Musk wrote on Twitter. We won't do anything unless we're forced to, he continued. I'm sorry for being a free speech zealot. SpaceX did not immediately respond to a request for comment from Insider. According to Insider, the CEO of Starlink cautioned that the system could be targeted in Ukraine and recommended people to use it with caution because it is the only non-Russian communication system still operational in some parts of Ukraine. SpaceX reprioritized cyber defense and overcoming signal jamming, Musk added in another tweet, just minutes before stating that it would not ban Russia's news sites. It will create modest delays in Starship and Starlink V2, he noted. Musk announced on February 27 that SpaceX had activated its Starlink internet service in Ukraine following a request from Mikhailo Fedorov, Ukraine's Vice Prime Minister and Minister of Digital Transformation, for more Starlink stations as the country's internet services were being disrupted by the Russian invasion. A Starlink customer in Ukraine told Insider's Kate Duffy that he had prepared his satellite dish for emergency use in case regular broadband services were suspended during Russia's invasion. SpaceX debuted Starlink Premium, a speedier version of the satellite internet service, in early February. The new version was created to operate better in adverse weather situations, according to the company. Musk had previously warned that Russian action in Ukraine may make his company's satellite broadband business the next target. Important warning, in certain places of Ukraine, Starlink is the only non-Russian communication system still operational. Therefore, the chances of being attacked are considerable. Please use caution when using this, Musk sent out a tweet. After a Ukrainian government official tweeted asking Musk to provide the besieged country with Starlink stations, Musk stated last week that Starlink was operational in Ukraine and that SpaceX was sending more stations. Ukraine received donated satellite internet terminals from Starlink on Monday, according to reports, but an internet security analyst cautioned that these could be targeted by the Russians. Mikhailo Fedorov, the Vice Prime Minister, praises Starlink for keeping our cities connected and emergency services, saving lives. However, he added that the country requires generators to sustain Starlink's operation owing to Russian infrastructure strikes. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky revealed that he had met with SpaceX CEO Elon Musk and that the country would be receiving more Starlink satellite internet terminals next week. "I had a conversation with Elon Musk. I appreciate his comments and actions in support of Ukraine," Zelensky sent out a tweet. The European Union barred Russian state-funded news outlets RT and Sputnik from the 27-nation EU this week, while U.S. social media behemoths like Twitter and Facebook parent Meta have taken steps to limit the flow of Russian state-linked news. Since its military invasion on February 24, Russia has pounded Ukrainian cities, killing hundreds of civilians, according to officials. Those of Russian military failures or civilian deaths in Ukraine have been labeled fake news by Russian authorities, as have reports describing the offensive as a war or an invasion. They have imposed a press blackout, making several media websites unusable in parts, restricting Twitter, and blocking Facebook. Russia's invasion of Ukraine is referred to as a special military operation by state media sources and government officials who claim that Russian forces are solely targeting military sites. Musk also announced that SpaceX would temporarily adjust its objectives to focus on cybersecurity and signal jamming, citing slight delays in the launch of its Starship reusable rocket and Starlink V2 satellites as a result of the move. SpaceX's position puts it at odds with an increasing list of companies that have restricted access to Russian official media across Europe in the wake of the country's invasion of Ukraine. The European Union said on February 27th that Russian state-owned media sites Russia Today and Sputnik would be banned for promoting misinformation and lies to legitimize Putin's war. Facebook and YouTube were fast to comply with the injunction, blocking access to the outlets throughout their European base. Large portions of Ukraine's communications networks have been disrupted as a result of Russian airstrikes and invasion. Following a request from Elon Musk, CEO of SpaceX, the billionaire has provided a large number of Starlink consoles to Ukraine to offer satellite communications. Musk claimed on Friday that Starlink is the only non-Russian communication system that is still operational in parts of Ukraine. Musk conceded there was a risk when security specialists warned that the terminals may be traced and targeted by Russian air attacks. The Dishy Terminal's software has been upgraded to minimize peak power consumption to the point that it can be charged from a car cigarette lighter, and mobile roaming has been enabled so that the antennae can keep service while driving. Due to a suspected distributed denial of service or cyber attack, Viasat has been experiencing an outage in parts of Europe, including Ukraine, since last week. General Michael Friedling, the commander of France's Space Command, confirmed that a cyber attack had occurred. Panex Aero reported at the time at least 3 ISPs have reported difficulty connecting to Viasat satellites, notably InTV.cz and EUSANet, but suggested as many as 6 are affected. As a result of the Viasat outage, CSP Big Blue and Orange-owned Nordnet both stated that their networks were disrupted. The outage hampered the remote operation of more than 5,000 turbines, according to a German wind turbine manufacturer. In the midst of an ongoing information war, Musk claimed on Twitter over the weekend that some governments outside of Ukraine have told Starlink to block Russian news sources. In some parts of Ukraine, Starlink was the only non-Russian communication system still operational, according to Musk. As a result, the likelihood of being targeted is great, he added. Please use with caution. Starlink has almost 2,000 satellites in orbit with the goal of providing internet connectivity to everyone on Earth. For a subscription with speeds of up to 150 megabits per second, the internet constellation costs $99 per month. The equipment, which includes a satellite dish and a router, can cost as much as $500. Users who require additional bandwidth must purchase a $500 per month premium package. Only use Starlink when absolutely necessary, and keep the antenna as far away from humans as feasible, Musk added. To avoid visual detection, cover the antenna with light camouflage. Musk delivered Starlink terminals at Ukraine Vice Prime Minister Mikhailo Fedorov's request, who stated that the broadband internet connection keeps our cities connected and emergency services saves lives in the event of outages. When the Starlink terminals arrived in Ukraine on Saturday, they were turned on. With that, we have come to the end of the video. If you found it interesting, make sure to hit the like button and let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Also, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. See you soon with another exciting video. Until then, bye!